An impressive first series that ends 2-0, but almost felt like a three-mapper with the way that the second map went into back-to-back overtimes. But here we are in our second series regardless, and it's going to be 9Z versus 00Nation, as we see two teams we haven't yet seen play off against one another. And one of these teams, if we're looking at them, is a team that maybe is the heaviest underdog throughout the entire event. I'm looking at 00Nation, and it's a team that's really got their backs against the wall. And then on the flip side of that coin, I feel like 9Z is a really good team that is maybe underestimated. So it's tough. I'm looking at the two teams and I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to get out of this one because 9Z doesn't come in with the same level of praise as M80, the Guard, and Union. But they actually have the best round win percentage of every team at this event, 60% across all maps on average. That's pretty strong, Tanner.
Yeah, and for 9Z, I had them, Sully posted them on Twitter, I responded saying, I have them in my top three. Now, I also had M80 in that top three, so I'm not too sure where that puts them if Union takes that spot, but 9Z look like one of the stronger teams here. They look super coordinated. They have insane individual players, and they're all so incredibly flexible. The roles on this one and the ideas that they have for themselves, they play Raze on a lot of maps, but they play Raze their way on a lot of maps, and it works so darn well.
Yeah. You can see, look at this win rate. This is not bad, Roy. Not at all.
No, those are 100%. How much more better do you want? This is crazy. They got three maps at 100%. That's pretty valid. And they're buying at 75%. But I think really for me, the more interesting thing about 9Z is that obviously there's a lot of different regions in LATAM and Brazil, so they all have different styles of play. But 9Z is extremely unique in the way they approach the game. All of their compositions are kind of out of not off meta, but they're completely unique. They're comps we've never seen before. Example, Chamber, KO, Omen, Raze, Sky on Haven. That. Yeah. Whew, that's wild. KO Sage on Bind. That's another pretty wild one with Harbor Viper as well. Their style is just so unique, and it's so difficult to obviously you can prepare for it, but until you experience it in the server, it's a completely different vibe.
Well, and to add to the uniqueness, right, it's also a Lotus comp where they don't run the Viper and they're playing the Cypher there, right? These guys, this is a team that, much like we've seen teams, have 5 strong players, trust the process, and stay together for a long time and eventually make things work. We look at teams like the Guard, we look at teams like Moist Moguls from Americas. This team obviously has done that in terms of not making changes, trusting the process, but they also play their game, which I think is super important, right? Comfortability through the roof. They're not switching up to try and play what's meta, just like Roy mentioned.
I feel like it's important to praise them too, because it is easy to see them disappear into the background as we look at Thule's stats. This team, 7-2 record coming into this from Split 2, 18-7 maps. That puts them just off from the Guard, who is 19-7 with an 8-3 record. They managed to do it by playing far fewer rounds. They played actually 54 less rounds. They had a 60% win rate across all their maps. This is good stuff. It's not a team that I feel like should slide into the background. And also, here's a really weird stat. And I don't know why I decided that this was fun for me to do.
Oh, God.
They have the shortest average map time at 42 minutes and 45 seconds of all the teams that are competing. I know that's a weird statistic, but I was like, I'm kind of curious. How do they play the game? Is it going to be significantly faster? And if you look, some of their games end very quick. They actually have the fastest map won since Split 2 at around 27 minutes or so, which illustrates that maybe the pace of play is going to be escalated a little bit more as we look at this team, Roy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if it's particularly because they play fast or because, they've had pretty sweeping wins. If you see the grand finals against Fusion, for example, was 13-6, 13-5, 13-4. Their wins look dominant. Yeah, they kind of struggled before the grand finals, and before that they got knocked down to the lower bracket. But 9Z, man, they're a strong team.
And that's a question that I kind of had, right? We had the number 1 team coming out of LATAM North. We had the number 1 team coming out of LATAM South, and I was thinking how does that work? But then they piece it together, right? They finally both come together, like Roy mentioned, and 9Z looked like the better team by far. Again, I don't know if it's obviously individual strengths from the team, but they just bring comps that I don't think anybody is ready for.
And when we look at their opponents, again, it is very much a dark horse play. 00Nation, by comparison to the teams that are playing coming in from other regions, is certainly the one that I think most people will sleep on. And I don't want to say it's warranted, but when you compare them to some of the teams that are playing in the pedigree of teams like M80, the Guard, Union, honestly, even 9Z, it's easy to see why they're fading into the background. They come in with a 7-5 record. They've only got a +4 map diff. They're the only team who's lost double-digit maps coming into this event from Split 2. So obviously, Tanner, that's going to create a scenario where people are going to doubt you.
Yes, but what I will say is, I mean, doubted from the beginning, I think, 00Nation, but they've been on the rise. Obviously, taking a look at the maps that are strong for them, Ascent and Bind, maybe not so much, but they've also got a couple of 100% there. Haven is a map that they have almost complete full control over, and it's one of the few maps they've been able to beat the Union on. But this team went from not qualifying for playoffs in Split 1 to winning out and barely qualifying, but doing it over another invited team, being tied in points, but beating out Keyd Stars in playoffs meant that they found their spot here. So they've been given this chance. I think they probably have less pressure because of what you were talking about there, Bach. But also, they're just on their character development arc, right? They went from being the kid on the swing to damn near Hokage just to make it to this event.
So what you're saying is they're literally the Moist Moguls of Brazil. Like,
They beat me to it. You beat me to it.
Exactly.
I beat you to that. I'm in your mind. I'm in your head, Bog. I got you. Don't worry about it. But no, I think that's a really good point. And I think another thing to keep in mind as well for 00Nation is that some of their players have like more recently come to Valorant. Like they haven't been playing since the beta. So there's a lot of things in terms of like what they're going to be doing that is more like rooted in FPS fundamentals, right? Like how unpredictable they are in the late rounds, how good of a read they have in terms of like where people are, you know, keeping track of where all the players are, where all the gaps are. Like these kind of teams that have like deep rooted FPS fundamentals typically shine in those like super late round scenarios where like intuition is kicking in, right? Like there's no more really structure. There's not really anything you can fall back to. It's kind of just like the wild west of Valorant. That's where these teams are going to shine, and I think 00Nation probably has an advantage in those kind of scenarios over 9Z.
And here's one of the players, too, that has tremendous flexibility as well. There's even one agent that doesn't make it on the list. I think it was Viper, who was played only once, and I don't think it was a win. But even still, it just kind of illustrates the flexibility of some of these players. Looking at Xion coming in here, it is definitely easy to look at 00Nation as an underdog. But, Roy, I think you nailed it. In my head, I'm thinking, this is sounding really familiar. I was like, I'm going back to the mid-season face-off, and there's this team that recently got signed, an open qualifier team who made a run through the bracket, surprised a lot of people, ended up topping their group in the second split, and was top 3. Almost made it to this event. Had 2 opportunities, unfortunately couldn't quite close out either one with losses to M80 and the Guard, which is what punched their tickets to this event and sent Moist Moguls unfortunately home without a trip to Brazil. But it is easy to draw comparative lines between the teams because you're mentioning a team that's on the rise, a team that's maybe playing a little bit better, a team that's finding form. That could be the case in the scenario here for 00Nation. The question is the map pool. When we look at the map pool, we saw those map graphics before. 00Nation, Tanner, their map pool has some serious holes in it, and it's sure, you know, LAN environment, time to practice, a lot of pressure, a lot of preparedness. It's hard to fill those voids that quickly.
So, yes, but what I will say is I think 00Nation, especially after watching the first series of the day and seeing the Union, 00Nation's training partner has been the Union, right? They've played them a handful of times. So I do think that not that 9Z had an easier route to get here, but they were kind of just greasing everybody. They were, especially even the number 1 team from LATAM North, right? They go into that one, make it a quick 3-0. So I think we look at the numbers and we can say that 00Nation maybe are a little slippery on some of the maps. You know, you do get 2 bans, which is kind of nice. It worked for the Union in the first series. But like I said, I think they've had a strong training partner, so it's kind of hard to look into those maps and say that just because 9Z is good on it and 00Nation doesn't look good on it coming out of Brazil, that 00Nation just kind of automatically lose.
So you're saying that if I practice with the Yankees, I could be a pro? Because the way you're like, they practice with the Union's good.
100%. Get out there.
I mean, it's my time. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to shine. I will be the best ball boy you've ever seen. It'll be incredible. As we take a look at the map picks and bans, we'll see the bans coming out right off the rip. It's a little bit peculiar. I would not have anticipated an Ascent ban coming right off the rip from 9Z. That one kind of catches me off guard, especially given that they do have a 100% win rate. They picked it twice, played it 3 times, coming back to Split 2. So that one is maybe a little bit more odd. The Lotus ban for their second ban makes perfect sense. That's a map they banned 7 times. It's really not one they like to play. So that's a little bit strange. The ban bind also makes sense for 00Nation. Pearl, I mean, it's certainly no gem for them, but I'm looking at the map pool in general is always going to play in favor of 9Z. But Tanner, now that I look at this, I feel like 00Nation got a little bit of a leg up based on the bans that we saw come out from 9Z.
Yeah, the bans are very strange. Like you mentioned, the Ascent ban, kind of the weirdest one out of that. I'm glad that we're going to Fracture first. It's an exciting map because of the way that both of these teams play. 00Nation, they really like to favor kind of a Sage or a double Sentinel comp if they can get it. So there's going to be a lot of stopping power on the side of 00Nation. Meanwhile, on the other side, if things don't change for 9Z, they play like a triple flash with the Omen smokes here instead of the Brimstone. So map number 1, it's going to be an interesting one, I think, to say the least.
Bach, you said that you favor 0-0 in this veto. I actually feel like the opposite, right? Like, yeah, the middle map, which is Haven, is probably favored for 0-0. Yeah. They have a really strong Haven. It's a 5-0, right? But like the other two maps, I feel like Split and Fracture are like super good maps for 9Z. Like those are their 2 most played maps with some of the highest percentages. Like they've played Split 7 times since April 1st. Yeah, they're 4-3 on it, but that, despite the record, that's still a map they're super comfortable playing. But their Fracture just looks immaculate. So I'm actually kind of nervous for 0-0 if I'm being honest.
Interesting stat though with Split, they've never picked it. Despite the fact that they've played it 7 times, they've never picked it. Actually, excuse me, I'm wrong. They picked it 5 times, looking at the wrong statistical column. So yeah, they have picked it 5 times. So they played it twice without picking, but they picked it 5 times. The Lotus ban does make sense for them. That ban is like, okay, yeah, that checks out. Clearly, it's not a map you like to play. It's also, maybe a decent map for 00Nation. It's not going to be perfect because realistically, like their map pool does show some weaknesses in a variety of spots. I'd say it's a good map for them though, comparatively to some of the maps they certainly struggle on. Looking at a map like Bind, looking at a map like Ascent. It's just that Ascent ban. That one really throws me. I am very curious as to why that map and why that map first. We saw the bans come through and it was like, okay, they've decided to go that direction, but we'll see what ends up happening here as we take a look at the agents here for our first map in the series between 9Z and 0-0. Roy, initial thoughts just looking at this.
I do see a change slightly here for 9Z. I think they've swapped off the Brim into the Omen pick, which is pretty interesting.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't remember the last time I saw someone play an Omen on this map. If I ever did. I feel like Brim is so dominant on this map. If anything, we'd see an Astra. That one's really interesting, and we'll see how that one plays out. But we'll be seeing how that plays out here in just a second as it's time to throw things over to our casters who are standing by. We got them back. They disappeared for a moment, but we found Sully and Upmind, and they're ready for the second series. It's all yours.
Yeah, thanks, Bach. We're here. This match is a little bit weird to say the very least, Sully, because we got ourselves a team in 00Nation where the desks, they weren't really given too much credence to this team, right? Yeah, they come in second place in Brazil. Brazil, pretty solid region, but they're facing up against a 9Z team that barely have any gaps in their map pool.
I think Roy put it best. Like, I feel like this map pool really does favor the 9Z. Like, I think 9Z overall are a team that are going to surprise a lot of people when it comes to this Ascension event. And so 00Nation, or 00Nation, apologies. I keep calling them 00 just because 007 are going to have their work cut out for them. An aggressive team and an aggressive start towards Arcade.
Yeah, positioning early, but still, again, one person over towards Arcade. Thule can't do much with it. You still get the kill back from BZN, but you gotta watch out for Degara. He is down to 67 HP, but he's an incredibly dangerous player when it comes to situations. But no, what a great flash coming in from Rubkoide. The rest of 0-0 should be able to cleanly make their way into sight. You do have Mizu trying to pull something cheeky right on the edge of the smoke, but 0-0, they make it insane.
There was actually a missed flash.
Spike planted.
And led to the kill on Degara, but for now, 00Nation, there we go, I'm gonna get it right eventually. Have got themselves in a pretty strong post-plant situation here.
Yeah, Mizu
Last player standing.
actually does have the angle back over towards Arcade, but never mind. Rubkoide, he jumps right into the deeper angle of the man over in Arcade, and Mizu, the only thing he could really do is cause some chaos. So 0-0, very clean starts, just off of the fact that 9Z pulled a couple of mistakes.
Rubkoide missing that flash. If it lands, like, I think it was just a hair short, just around the wall. If Degara can maybe get a kill, that could have been a different round. Maintain tower control, but You're already seeing it earlier, like just off rip, 00Nation, a very aggressive team. Like if we just got to watch the other Brazilian team, the best in Brazil, by the way, in the Union against M80 on this map exactly. They run very similar compositions using that Sage. If you thought the Union were aggressive, 00Nation are double that, in my opinion. Like, they're a team that really doesn't slow down. There's no fakes. There's really no progressive overload. It's Jan in positions like this being kind of the spearhead of a lot of these attacking rounds, looking to get control. And on the other side, 9Z are a little bit slower. Arsene just fighting a double collat. All right, then.
I can't tell what was the more surprising piece there. The fact that Artzine got the collat or that Thule missed those shots. Thule, he's been so solid.
It's such a great chance.
Spike planted.
Not exactly the best showcase for these 9Z players that we've been trying to kind of like allude to. This 9Z team, they've been practically invincible in the Latin American region. Of course, you look over towards that final where they faced the northern representatives in Fusion, destroying them 3-0, leaving every map to a single digit.
Very similarly to the Union and M80, 9Z is a team that has been leagues above the rest. Like, they've lost 2 matches in all of their challenger circuit.
Jeez.
And again, like you said, dominating the Northern LatAm team. They haven't faced any struggles whatsoever. And again, we're going to see a lot of teams face up this Brazilian style for the first time in their careers. And we'll see how 9Z plan to deal with them. I'm watching mainly for like this stylistic clash. I think 9Z are a team that we can draw a lot of comparisons to, like maybe M80 with how good their util layering is and how good that will be against a 00Nation that is extremely aggressive.
Is a little bit more structured, but 0-0, they have the pop potential. But Mizu, oh my goodness, Mizu, head on a swivel, and he's able to get 2 out of it. And Daygara holds down his aim to take down 2 with 1 spray. BZN, however, not exactly out of the woods just yet. He might be flanking on to a perfect opportunity against David and Rupkoide. Again, he's still searching for that pixel. It's such an awkward position. He can't go out into sight. He can't make his way through the gate.
You can get 1.
Or else they'll hear him. But they haven't spotted him in the sands.
Placing swarm grenade.
But now they know. BZN with the first opportunity. And Rupkoide is there to hold it all down. There you go. It was the support players a little bit there showing off their skill. Daygara alongside Mizu.
Yeah, phenomenal double swing between the 2 of them. 9Z as well, extremely potent, and their team played just as much as maybe a team like the Union just got to see. And Daygara and Mizu, both, again, layering that util, specifically Daygara. He sends the flash, fault line to buy some time, allow Thule to fight. He doesn't win the fight, but those 2 players are immediately there to trade off of him. And 00Nation, not a team that you'll see use a lot of early util, similar to, again, how their Brazilian counterparts to Union like to play. But this one's a lot slower. I'm surprised 00Nation are taking this a lot slower. It's given 9Z time to take map control away from them.
Look at this over towards Tree. BZN absolutely needed that 1v1. As now it forces 9Z to panic a little bit. And this could actually open up a huge gap back over towards that A area. It just depends on how patient 0-0 are right now.
Yeah. 5-man group up here, and 9Z have got 2 players, Daygara and Muzu, the heroes of the last round, to try and double up and see if they can get anything. Look at the space that Rupkoide has. They should know it's coming towards Arcade.
Daygara still has a little bit of utilities, can still hold it back just a little bit. The aftershock alongside the flashes are actually so overwhelming. Daygara now has given himself a golden opportunity, but BZN, the man who was almost caught in a 1v1 early on in the round, has now come up huge for a 2K. And what? Oh my. Thule, brave to say the least to go for something like that, but in a 1v4, what more can you do?
Such a big kill as well from BZN over towards B main. And you can see it really splits up that 9Z defense. Like, Rupkoide is forced to push all the way in towards Tree, kind of leave his team. And with such a small kit left for Daygara, he had, what, I think just 2 flashes left over. Rupkoide is in a position where he can't really assist with flashes on site. So those 2 players, Mizu and Daygara, are kind of playing by themselves on an island. And Daygara trying to replicate his spray down in A main, not able to connect those shots. 00Nation on a really nice ult cycle right now. They've been abusing these ult orbs early on.
Thule being caught very early. You can see the cogs turning there for 9Z.
Wow.
Looking to lock these players Into tree for this trap in. It was Mizu alongside David to make their flank in, but it just doesn't work out. Everyone else from 0-0 running for the hills, running all the way back over towards A. Rubkoi, the last one remaining in a 1v4. But 0-0, again, didn't need to do much. Their pace wasn't as fast as we had previously expected. But again, do you really need that much pace when 9Z are essentially giving you those contacts on a silver platter?
Yeah, and I mean, 9Z are a team that love to do those kind of weird plays on their eco rounds. It's a big reason why they're so successful in the LATAM region is they win 33% of their eco rounds, and it's kind of stuff like this that will set them up. But this time around, I think 00Nation bringing the heat to them didn't give time for 9Z to breathe and to set anything up. Rubkoi, they will be very lucky to find any kills. Again, the ult cycle heavily in favor of 00Nation. We'll have Rolling Thunder, a lockdown, an Orbital Strike moving forward as they start 4-1 with this very explosive style. They're a big team that relies on these like not contact plays, apologies, but team contact plays. Like they'll have this pack mentality where, again, very similar to what we saw from the Union. They're extremely good at trading and feeding off of one another. Jan is extremely good as well with those entries. I mean, him and Oski are, I think, two of the best players when it comes to that Brazilian region on Raze. He'll be very key to set 00Nation up in a lot of these execs and be the key figure to trade off of.
Comes yet another aggressive look, more or less, coming in from 9Z. It's just the early stun. Just try to hold down 0-0.
Feel so bad. Jan just got blasted by 2 fault lines.
And everyone else from 0-0, because of that, are actually able to make an early tree pick.
I will tell you, I get scared when 9Z have got sheriffs. Like, I really get worried because of how good they can be.
I mean, you have to be. Here comes Shion, though, stepping up. Thule finally going big with the sheriff, looking to take down Shion too. Degara looking for yet another swing. He's about to get detained right around the corner. Are they actually going to spot him, though?
Dave, okay. This is slowed down immediately. David's CP all the way towards Arcade, and with his Guardian has found one singular kill and kept Degara alive. And given
No
his team
way!
opportunity as Mizu has been given a chance to strike as well. This is getting a little bit dangerous. EZN has got deep in towards defender spawn, and he sees nothing. They should know where these last 2 players are.
And Degara picking up the ult point for the Rolling Thunder. Both teams with an incredibly pivotal ultimate.
30 seconds left.
And now the map has flipped a little bit. Both defenders over towards Arcade. Spawn is completely empty here for 0-0, and they're going to take that space all the way to the bank. BZN, Bartine have the empty A site. Have some positioning here for Bartine. He can go potentially all the way back into A main to try to utilize his molly.
10
Of course,
seconds
also
left.
orbital.
There's still a pretty crazy
Spike
world
planted.
where Degara wins this with his Rolling Thunder. And I wonder how Marian is going to adjust around this, because he can't really sit in A main with the risk and the threat of that Rolling Thunder and that immediate push from 9Z. So he's elected to play on site.
Oh no! The Guardian going off again! 8 HP remaining, just one more bullet.
That's crazy.
And now, a 1v2. Bartine! Oh, that was almost perfect for Bartine! Isolating the 1v1 against Degara. Locking out the player over in Dish. Degara wins out the 1v1 by the skin of his teeth.
He's got confidence to not use the Rolling Thunder. I would have certainly been screaming to use your Rolling Thunder right then and there to guarantee that round for sure. But again, that TP from the Omen ult, it catches 2 players off guard, keeps Degara in this round, and he's the one that ends up clutching it out entirely. David with a massive play off of the Omen ult has given 9Z a little bit of a route back into this first half. Because that round definitely felt like if it goes the way of 00Nation, you have to worry a little bit for 9Z, who have now got the ult economy in their favor at the moment.
One of the most vocal teams in this tournament is 0-0, and 9Z already kind of throwing the same mentality back at them.
Look at this setup here from 9Z. 3 players tucked in towards A main. A Rolling Thunder setup as well for the retake, as he's got a fault line primed off of this peak from Thule, and as well as camera.
Degara still has the Rolling Thunder.
That's a crazy
Here comes
ult.
BZN! Around the corner, BZN clears it all. The Rolling Thunder doing everything there for 0-0. Round's not over though. Davey
Spike planted.
does come up from behind, does pick down one, and watch out for the other. Shion, however, fully flashed. Still takes down his opponent. Rubkoi Last one remaining in a 1v4. Make it a 1v3. Still double flashes. No one's going to be over towards his right. But that at least maybe gives off faint opportunity that someone could be there. But even then, a 1v3, Rupgoida, no chance. Needing to back out. It's a big momentum wing here for 0-0. I mean, just the fact that they did it so easily.
You never see those kind of ult combos. I mean, I haven't seen that kind of ult combo from 00Nation. A lot of their playbook is using Shan with his ultimate, using that with the Rolling Thunder, but he didn't have it this round. But BZN, that was an incredible set play, and it's just unfortunate that 9Z are the ones that get caught in the middle of that aggression. I don't know if BZN had the information that, okay, like the camera's getting popped, they've got deep A main control, but still, it works out incredibly in 00Nation's favor. And they've had a pretty hot start to this first map, and it's going to surprise a lot of people. I certainly didn't expect it to come with this kind of heat. They're still bringing that pressure, but it's a lot more tamed and a lot more controlled. Something that we didn't see during their playoff run is they eventually just got stomped by the Union and could not find an answer when the fight got brought to them here. But for now, 00Nation in complete control this first half.
And even though you saw that bit of emotion from BZN, I can claim that this is a much calmer 0-0 than what we've seen before. Almost seems like, realistically, their whole path throughout the Brazilian league had a lot of pressure on them. Of course, a team who ended up getting second to last place in the first split, in the second split, fell behind a little bit. They had to come in with 2 new players, and they still had to, you know, make that run happen in the playoffs.
And literally everything was against them. They had to beat Keydstars, probably the second best team up until this point now, and a team that they literally never beat them. I think they've lost 2 times before that, I think, lower final matchup to secure themselves a spot in the grand finals and here in São Paulo for Ascension. So there weren't a lot of expectations, I felt, on 00Nation, and they've played so far pretty good. Again, we're only the first match into them, but what we're seeing already is a huge adaptation and really fixed up, I feel, the mistakes that they had against the Union. They were playing a lot more, not necessarily passive, but they're playing a lot smarter with their aggression.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Shand just goes in alone against Thule. Ends up picking out the 1v1 with a showstopper. There is one over towards Dish, and he may have a decent angle, but Rupgoida, it's essentially a one-way. He ends up getting isolated. Now the rest of these 9Z players can't realistically do much. It was already a base of pistols. That hero rifle could have came up so big.
Spike
See if
planted.
Negara can get anything going, but I think he's just going to save the rifle, let these 2 players at the Sheriffs go scouring. Maybe they get something. Again, no damage to be had here against 00Nation, whose economy is flourishing. I think if you are 00Nation, maybe you put players that need ultimates, like definitely Barton here. As they actually both end up going down. This is a little bit dangerous all of a sudden.
No way.
And BZN has recognized that. He backs away off of a Nanoswarm. And look at that, Degar's back in the action.
At least the kill comes back here for BZN and BZN.
He instantly backs away.
All right. Degara definitely did think about it for a quick second. But thankfully, BZN was able to take it down. That was starting to look actually very dangerous, though.
Yeah, Degar poked his head in for a second, and then I think the first kill went on to
Y'all winning?
and instantly he ended up backing away. Yeah, he's like, oh, what did, never mind, I'm out of here. But ult's getting close here for 00Nation, specifically BZN. Was just one off the lockdown. Maybe there will be a play for it. The ults have been heavily in favor of 00Nation. Even in the last like 2 or 3 rounds, they've been really layering their ultimates extremely well and buying for ult torps on players that are extremely close. I think this one will be very similar. As 9Z have got a 3-man setup, a flash, and a fault line, it looks like, over here towards A main to try and set Thule up, who has been one of the best players when it comes to first kill, first deaths. He's actually 1.81, the leader in this event, but he's had no success so far.
BZN faces on
there
the
you
Terminator
go.
known as Thule, and he's looking for a whole lot more. Thule! All of them are gone to the hands of Thule.
That is an absurd entry, by the way. As soon as he finds the first kill, fault line coming out from Degara, and then to combo that with the nade, knowing these players are going to back away, and the timing of Rupgoida and his Trailblazer to stun all 3 players, it was literally a symphony of util. 3 pieces of util won them that round. I guess you can count 4 if you want to count the flash initially. But that is one way to get 9Z back into this one, and 00Nation will have to come up with some response over towards B. And look at how slow that they've gone. Right off that, they're scared of some kind of aggression.
And BZN, his patience actually works out.
Turret down.
Are they gonna hunt him? No, they won't make it.
30 HP, 1 bullet would have been able to do it, but he does escape. Everyone else from 0-0 making their way up tree with a whole lot of utility. And indeed, the double smoke comes in, stun. Degara fighting away! And he's able to pick away too. A hero move from Degara, and David, he's still here!
Lockdown.
Davids can still go off. 2 more players back over towards the tree side.
Can he break
No
it?
way. It doesn't even matter if he breaks it or not. He had the angle, and now Rupkoida knows exactly where it is. Takes down the lockdown. A 2v2 now. Man trying to make his way through the wall, but this is a great position.
I don't think he gets
Nobody
this.
has an eye on the spike, but an orbital strike is available, and they do utilize it. Don't think it went down to half either. They're still looking for a good angle, but BZN may just have everything. He makes a whole lot of noise, potentially back over towards tower, but Bartine isolates Mizu, and Rupkoida simply not there for the support. It was looking so good for 9Z there for a second.
And BZN just hauling all the way under tunnel. As soon as that orbital strike comes in, he knows he's got to run. He's got to make a mad dash. And that contact, I think, made off of the guiding light from Rupkoide. There's not confidence to go for that defuse because the box is spammable on that side. I think there's a slight like gap where the defuser is. Yeah, you can see here a slight gap in between like the juxtaposition of both of those boxes. That's where the spam comes through, and there's no coverage towards B main. And Mizu not ready for that contact back. That's 00Nation. A very scrappy round. It was 2 nanostorms for BZN, but not a single one of them gets thrown down. 9Z had the control of that site, but just couldn't close it off. Another push here from 00Nation towards Dish. But no Rolling Thunder to make that combo happen.
And the respect is there immediately. BZN backs up with the rest of his team back over in Dish. 0-0. Not only are they positioning themselves in Dish, but they're looking to pop out into A immediately. Aftershock is going to hold them down. Rupkoida looking for a better position. Smoke in their face. 0-0. Starting to get a bit trapped. Shand may have actually been given a bit of a gift. Look at this gap. He may find a headshot, but his patience runs a bit thin. He doesn't actually keep the ADS on. Everyone backing away. BZN just here for the lurk.
And this is where 00Nation kind of come crumbling down on their offensive side. When they're forced to retake space here. And with 45 seconds left, look at the Cypher setup here as well. Both players, 9Z, have gone on B site, are sticking around. One tucked in towards tower, the other's got a Cypher setup to play off of. It's a timing over here towards Arcade that David will need to find something.
David
30 seconds
still has the
left.
paranoia to use, but he can't actually get any kills off of it. It's just holding down more time. Molly at the top of tower.
Maintain
He can
control.
go in to try to help out in the middle of sight. Degara still alive. Mizu still fighting away. Degara can't make his way out. Rez from right behind the wall. Degara not able to find an angle. Spike plant finally going in from behind the wall. Here comes the showstopper, but he doesn't pull it out in time. Instead, Thule does get a kill with a nade, but a huge shot comes out from Artzine at the same time. 3v2, 0-0 have the advantage, and 9Z have no positional advantage.
And look at this, they've even got the nanostorms down finally. Artzine's still in the middle of sight. Has got Degara, and he wins that one. That should be the round.
Oh, wait a minute. Rupkoida. Actually take away Artzine. He might be looking to actually take it down to half pretty much immediately, but BZN there for the immediate response. And 0-0. This half is starting to well go in their favor.
And as soon as BZN got that kill, I saw his player cam, and his face goes up, his head goes up, and his arm is screaming at 9Z. And yeah, this has been an incredibly dominant half from 00Nation against a team that has been undefeated so far on Fracture. 8-0 9Z. And granted, their attacking side is certainly their favorite side for 9Z, but this has still been a dominant half from 00Nation. I think on an individual level, they played extremely well, as well as putting out a lot of unique set pieces that we've never seen from them.
And now Thule, the firepower that we didn't see early on in the half, gets pulled out once again. Quick headshot over towards A main, giving 9Z a huge chance. Are 0-0 responding quickly because they need to? It does look like it. Shand goes in, can't take down Thule. 0-0 running out of safe angles to actually make their way into sight. But Xion, great patience, waits for Thule.
And he's got the Rolling Thunder online as well here. They could make a re-exit happen, cut noise, fake a rotate, and you can see 9Z have already begun to pivot 2 players the other way after they committed David's ult.
Now it's calm here for 9Z. Trying to get better positioning here. Over towards that B side. It isn't exactly great, but Mizu has a whole lot of trips in front of him.
Nah, but the Cypher setup is set up for a B main entrance. You can
right.
see as well. The routing is to keep players from pushing into Jenny from B main.
Just Mizu trying to hold off on time, but if anything, he needs to go back with his team.
What a
Never
shot!
mind. Mizu finds one opportunity and he absolutely
30
executes.
seconds left.
Rolling Thunder in, and he's
away.
safe. Mizu can now just farm away. 2 more players in front of him. Xion goes down, and Mizu's Guardian standing tall once again. It's now just Bartine, young Bartine in a 1v3 to close out the half. They know exactly where he is. He pops out. Mizu can't hit the shots. Bartine given an opportunity, but not able to take advantage. 9Z pick up one, an all-important one at that. Look at the scoreline going into the second half.
Certainly needed that one. I mean, 9Z struggled in that first half. 00Nation had all the answers. I think on an individual level, Shan outshone Thule in almost every single aspect with those first kills. Was a menace when it came to making those entries. I felt there were only 2 real times where Thule was finding impact in these early duels. And those 4v5s that you're getting put into, it's hard to win those out with a team that's constantly putting pressure. Shan only has 5 kills, but his entry potential has been huge for this 00Nation side. And they've done their part, gotten 8 kills or 8 rounds on their attacking side against a 9Z team that has been dominant on Fracture and dominant on their attacking side. This is where the show starts for 9Z.
They already start quite a different look. Contact over towards Dish, a potential look for Mizu. And indeed, actually, he opens up the gate early on. And this pulls away so many rotations from 0-0.
5 players here instantly. 00Nation, especially with that
Unreal.
Trailblazer getting him pulled in as well. There's just no way you expect a fake to happen like that. 9Z will get the spike down, and this is where they're deadly. The highest post-plant win rate of these 6 teams. And we'll see if they can win out this round, a crucial one in this half.
Shand encounters the first contact. Thule takes down his teammate instead, but Shand responds promptly. Rukoy there, a huge opportunity, but he's only able to take down 1, but it's enough for the trade. More than enough here potentially for 9Z to pick up a huge round, but there's still 2 remaining for 0-0. Degara has the high angle. Davi had to take down Shand on his own. His teammate ended up backing out early, and 9Z are able to combine the numbers and overwhelm 0-0.
And just getting sucked into the 2 pieces of util, like you said, that door being opened up, the Trailblazer from Goyle getting called out as well. 00Nation, especially in rounds like this where they're not aggressive, are going to overcommit to rotates. And they do that in that pistol round. They didn't get control towards B, they didn't get control towards Arcade. So they had to overcommit because they weren't sure where that hit was coming from. And 9Z on this attacking side, when they get that spike down, they've won 79% of their post plans
Jeez.
in their LATAM region. So that will be a key thing to watch out for. The 00Nation are a team as well that don't like to give up site that is. They'll continue to fight for it in an instance like this.
Goodness, Davi! They can get yet another one around the corner. The Pistols inching their way forward from 0-0. Artzine looking to chip away on his own. It's just the classics for 0-0. 9Z. And just looking for a clean round finally. The score racked up. And now 0-0 begin to sweat.
Now the guns will come out. You'll see just how they'll play this map, and a lot of it will be setting up Shan for map control. Hasn't been the most effective in like the multi-kill department, but again, his first kills have been spectacular through and through. Again, the highest, I believe, in this event at a 1.81 first kill to
We're
first
seeing
death
number
ratio.
1 and number 2 in this game. Thule and number 2.
Yeah, at 1.3. So this duel has gone so far the way of Thule when it comes to the overall kills, but I think Shan has his number in that first kill department in this map. I haven't keeping track exactly though. There it is, setting up Shan again for an early duel, but there's no util to back him up.
Oh my goodness, Thule goes skating in to pick up yet another one, and 9Z they have already just found the round within 15 seconds of the round starting.
And 2 players left. Artesine and BZN will certainly be considering this save. And no util to back up Shan right there. They wanted to try and contact towards Dish and, you know, maybe catch with a north side crunch, because you can see there was an effort made by Artesine and BZN over towards Arcade. 00Nation, that will cost them Shan's life, and then the second Shion a little bit late with that fault line.
What you mentioned, by the way, a pivotal difference between these two teams. Thule almost always seems to have an initiator by his side, or at least somebody that can help out in terms of utility, whether that be Davi, of course, on the Omen Paranoia, of course, Degara, Mizu on other maps, Koida, BZN. What is going on? What is going on? 66 HP, and he actually picks up everyone. The eco for 9Z getting chipped down little by little. It is the round still for 9Z. But okay, 0-0 might have actually just given themselves a bit of a gap in this half.
And it puts him 1 away off that ultimate as well. And just to go back to your point, the difference between Thule and Shan, I feel the 3 times that Thule has gotten entries, it's always led to a second immediately after that. And it's because of that initiator that he's got behind him. Catching players off guard, like it was a great stun multiple times in A main when he was making entries on his defense. They're over towards Dish. Those 2 players backing him up are just enough with their util. And 00Nation electing to call a timeout, as so far it's been 3 rounds in a row from 9Z. Extremely effective attacking side. As similar to 00Nation, they will push you and take early map control, but the main difference that we'll see from 9Z is the effectiveness of their execs and how well coordinated they are with their util. It's one of the things that I was looking at when I'm like, okay, this team will definitely surprise a lot of people, is how well coordinated they are against these kinds of teams.
9Z, at least in a game against a team where, like you said, a bit more aggression, you could be able to see a bit more of that domination from the more organized side. You've started to see it as the rounds have gone by after the first initial bursts from 0-0. 9Z have been the overall more successful team in the last 10 rounds, but also, of course, looks like the ones that are controlling the map a little bit more.
There's a ping already on the map, I think, for David's teleport in the top right corner of A. I don't know if he'll commit to the TP for the plan, but already Thule getting set up for an aggressive look, and Shan's got him this time around.
4 players around the corner, and Koida is still going in. The rest of 9Z, they're forced to fight.
Hold on, David? No. David has just run TP'd up and towards tower with the spike. And I thought he was going to try and rush over towards the other side of the map, but they picked up rifles here. This is a 00Nation that shut down Shan, and there's no answer here. Or apologies, Thule, and there's no answer.
But they've completely evaded that whole play from Davi. Again, everyone currently over in A main. They're actually able to capitalize. Davi can't make his way over, and neither can Mizu.
This one felt extremely weird from 9Z, because we were just praising the util that comes after Thule on his entries, and this time there was nothing. Like, he just double blast packs and gets shut down by a triple peak of 3 players on A.
Right.
And a big spin around for 00Nation is now that puts them within 1 round, not of fully resetting, as there are 2 players, I think that, or apologies, not only 1 player that would be able to buy, that being Degara, but yeah, so now this would be a full reset on 9Z.
Right.
Thule looking to attempt again that A main aggression.
It's gonna be Shans that has to take on that first pick. And indeed, ready for the dash in from Thule, and Davey can't do anything actually getting into sight. Degara does pick away at Shion. Shan support, Mizu with a 1v1 against Bartine. And now 2 players remaining here for 9Z. They're not going to attempt A anymore. Backing up all the way over towards that B side, which is actually relatively possible. It's only BZN here.
Read unbelievably well here, 00Nation. But 9Z have got a chance, like you said. It is just BZN. Granted, BZN's got the glow for a reason. He's alone here, and this turret, I believe, will make contact before the swarm gets spotted. So yeah, he can pop that and buy time. His players will begin to rotate.
Doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter.
Jeez.
Doesn't utilize the util. BZN just plays with their hearts instead. Double digits for 0-0. And 9Z, their economy has indeed fallen.
And look at the ultimates as well that 00Nation will have online in a moment. Lockdown, Orbital Strike, Rolling Thunder, the res, everything going their way right now.
Enemy remaining.
BZN just pivoting around the site. Like, Degara's got literally no idea where this guy's coming from. He's looking up towards tower.
Love
For
that.
God's sake, yeah, and look at that. 00Nation are feeling confident as well. This is a team, again, that was 8-0. 9Z on Fracture. They've been dominant in their region. They've never really been tested, so here's the first time.
Z.
Bomb buddy out. Bomb grenade
Again,
out.
it's almost the same story that we saw with the Union. A lot of respect for this team within their own region. It almost leads to fear in a lot of rounds and a lot of situations in the middle of their Latin American South season.
Right there.
Almost gives them kind of that false sense of confidence. Who knows going into a tournament like this?
Enough.
Rube Koida.
Whew. Okay. One kill to at least start something up, and that might actually cue a couple of these ultimates, specifically the Degara ultimates, to try and get into a site. They've weakened the A site, and they know that. And 00Nation, this time around, losing that player, this is, again, where they kind of crumble. Is when they lose that aggression, they don't exactly know what to do. They're not going to re-clear, and it's even called the ultimate out here from Thule to try and make something happen. Can't
Incredible
get that
that he
one.
checks that corner, but Artzine, he has to do so much here. But no, he can only get one lockdown in. BZN might get traded out though, and indeed he
30
is.
seconds left.
Thule takes him down with a nade, and now Shand. Nade in to try to deny the plant. There is the crossfire, but now he's down to 30 HP. No way, no way. 1v1. Shand, Mizu. Mizu, 16 seconds left. Shand still has a nade. He can still deny the plan if he wants to.
He faked the
10
run.
seconds.
Left.
Mizu going in. Shand finally utilizes the nade. It's right on top of him. But Mizu actually takes 0 damage. And now Shand needs to be incredibly sharp.
But that Stinger, he needs a headshot here.
Mizu trying to find the pixel before Shand finds it first.
He's holding the Sheriff of all things.
Again, he just needs a single bullet to the body. And that's exactly what he gets. 9Z at the brink of breaking their economy. Win an eBay Thrifty.
And Shen making that so close. He's doubled his kills in like 5-6 rounds off of a 5 and 10 half. And how close does that get? These entries here, that first kill definitely kicking off a lot here for the side of 9Z, but I can't believe they don't clear Artzine. Some mistakes made on this entry despite getting the first 2 opening kills, and it's relief on the faces of 9Z more so than triumph off of that round. And it has kept 9Z at least alive so far in this first map. As look at the ults again, still lined up for 00Nation. Rolling Thunder and an Orbital Strike. And they've got deep control right now of A main with this operator.
We see how 9Z can get into these sites, but how can they defend it once that post plant is down?
I believe there's an Orbital Strike combo or maybe a smoke setup here for Barthin.
Goodness, there goes Shan. Can't get anything against Thule. The trade is there. Rolling Thunder, however, and Mizu, he can jump into the cage, but Barthin shuts it down, sliding into the dish angle, and you still have one in the middle of sight. It's Art.
What an
Zine
ult.
with the op and a Rolling Thunder to delay even further. 9Z, look at this position.
Gone all the way in towards spawn. Degara should know, and Degara needed that one. He doesn't get it, surprisingly.
It's only Davi, Rube Koida.
And they're stuck.
They're stuck in that same position, but Rube Koida steadfast making his way out. Both players are now on the floor. Both players now potentially with a 2v1 against Bartine.
30 seconds left.
And they drop a smoke out to creep out. There's no flashes yet for Rukoide.
They might find the angle, but Shion finds them both, finds the gap in the smoke right before the two were about to prowl on Bartine. And 0-0 getting dangerously close now to potentially taking a map away from the best in Latin America.
That orbital strike setup as well off of the operator contact. Split 2-3 players. Rukoide and David were so far, and that's why they're the last 2 players alive. They're split so far apart. As soon as that orbital strike gets dropped, 9Z are making a single entry happen with just Thule going into the site. And then immediately after, a wall gets dropped. Sage has become such a staple in the Brazilian Valorant scene on Fracture because of moments like that. It's good at isolating angles, it's good at slowing down pushes, and the way that 00Nation have been using that wall, at least on their defensive side, and using the soul orbs is to, again, as his name entitles, slow down pushes off of reactions. And he focuses the push with that wall over towards the door, out towards Sands, where everyone on 00Nation has already made a quick rotation. And that wall routes the entry from 9Z to where the main contact from 00Nation is going to be. And they've called their second and final timeout of regulation, as 9Z, not a team used to losing series, being down in maps. And they'll have some thinking to do here, as this next round feels a guaranteed 12 for 00Nation, given the economy.
And 9Z, we've already seen Thrifties out from them before. The catalyst being Thule. This time, they're pretty much doing the exact same. They're stacking a whole lot of utility around Thule, stacking the bodies around Thule, and they're looking to go fast. Shand already with a peek. It's going to be a triple peek from 0-0 right into tree, but a stun.
It's a nice
Holds
fault
them
line.
all there.
But there's again that slow warp. Despite the fault line coming out, you can't capitalize on, and the wall as well. They've shut down the BXX.
And Shand going in just clears away David.
That's an insane
And he's
fault
going to get
line.
another one.
That is insane!
Everyone from 9Z feeling the pressure from 0-0. Again, not much for them to actually utilize to get through, but 0-0 boxed them into Arcade and have now find themselves one round away.
An insane setup from Martin as well. The wall in the slow warp, halting everything. Like, there's a fault line to try and allow Thule to punish with his blast back, but he gets shut down. Like, he can't move in those slow warps, and the wall as well, routing everyone towards tower. You're seeing the true power of Sage, I think, from this 00Nation side, who are playing it a lot differently than how the Union usually play it. Union will typically take control with this wall. And 00Nation are instead forcing the direction of these entries and these execs.
Can they do it again, though? They still have the Sage up front. Ardzine, however, is facing up the rifles that can just grind away that wall immediately.
And they're pushing it to be made after the aggression. They know there's going to be a lurker, and they found him.
Works out, though, 9Z. Rube Koida, all the way over in A main. All the way over in A side already.
They've gotten this space here. But 00Nation will play as a pack on this B site. 9Z, extremely good in these post plants. So we'll see if they can get the spike down and get time to set up. But there's a trap laid by Xion. A trap laid that Degara might walk into.
Spike planted.
It's just the one pick that Xion
And
wants.
he does.
Satchel out.
That's all the control gone. The spike's not planted for Dish.
Exactly that. The player over in Dish can't really do anything.
That fall line hits too.
Does it hit both of them? I don't really know just yet, but again, Rube Koida
And that covers both.
right on top. Aftershock doesn't actually connect. Bartine getting a big kill. Rube Koida picks up two. Now there's two more to go. Rube Koida with it all to do. But 0-0 have whittled down 9Z. Now Brazil once again have yet another opportunity at a win here on the international stage.
And a shocking win as well. Remember, 8-0 is how this match started. 9Z had won 8 maps in a row, and their attacking side formidable. A 79% post-plant win rate, and they didn't get the spike down at all, except for that like 1 or 2 final rounds, and they couldn't win those post-plants. They weren't given time to set up, and those early picks from Shan being a huge difference maker.
And truthfully, we didn't see that at all throughout that first half. Shan finally coming up in that second half, and realistically, everyone from 0-0 having their own moments throughout the game. This finally gives us probably the most balanced look that we've seen from 0-0 yet. And again, it makes sense. They just changed out their players, what, 2-3 months ago? They've needed to gel at least somewhat. So we've made it now. 0-0 currently on top of 9Z. Again, I have no affiliation, but I think y'all, they already feel what I'm feeling. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to send it back over to the analysts to wrap up map number 1.
Thank you very much, Gus. A great first map coming in from 00Nation. It kind of hits what we were profiling coming into this one. Yeah, maybe not the favorite coming into today. Maybe not the favorite at all in the event. Definitely the darkest of dark horses. But the map pool felt like it gave them a little bit of a leg up, and they get started here on Fracture with a big win. And this is just how you want to see things get started for them as they make their run through this Ascension Americas tournament. This is big because this is not only a rival, but again, like, there's only so many matches to be played out in the group stages, and it is seeding specific. It gives them a bye round in the playoffs. They all make it through, but that bye round is huge. It puts you one step closer.
This for me, I think for this match, my expectations and my reality did not match up whatsoever. Like, I wasn't sleeping on 0-0. Okay, I will admit it. I was not sleeping on them by any means, but the level of depth that they showed here in this first map blew me away. Like they're from top down, like they were explosive. They had just really strong individual presence. Their set pieces were immaculate, super clean, super refined, and the amount of value they got from their ultimates was wild.
I also kind of want to talk about 9Z a little bit in the way that I feel like you see it in some of these replays. They kind of beat themselves. I don't think they understood or were expecting 00Nation to be as strong as they were as individual players, more specifically than a team as a whole. Because you mentioned the ultimates and the value that 00Nation were finding, but there were so many times where players from 9Z were either swinging to take fights, and if they weren't losing them, they were winning one, and then never really expecting another player to be on the other side. 00Nation coming into this, comfortability, I think, was key, and they looked that tenfold. They looked really buttoned up on this first map, and they needed to, because Fracture was a map that 9Z, when they were winning, they were beating everybody. It was bad. This map looked so good for 9Z. So for 00Nation to come in and get what I would call an early upset and looking as buttoned up as they did, they're looking like a real contender in this.
And also, yeah, you know, the play coming in from 9Z wasn't just trash. It wasn't like they came in, felt flat. They didn't look like they were terrible. We saw some pretty strong plays from them as well. There was that Raze ace pushing aggressively into A main. They definitely had some semblance of strength, but it just felt like overall 00Nation was maybe a little bit more well-rounded. And it's also important to note that this was 9Z's pick. 00Nation is heading over to Haven for the next map, which is a map that actually is a good map for them. You know, we talked about it coming into the series, how maybe their map pool was, I don't want to say shallow, but it certainly was not deep. It was not as deep as some of the other teams that were coming into this event. They have a few maps they're really good on, and Tanner, one of those maps is Haven, which is going to be the next map in our series.
Yeah, this is a map, I believe they come into it with a 100% win rate as of recent times. They're on a 5-series win streak. It's also, we talked about their training partner in the Union, who we just saw look incredible in game one. They beat the Union on this map. They haven't taken a series off of them, but they've taken this map, which kind of speaks to how strong Haven is for 00Nation.
And we'll see if that's going to be the case, if the trend is going to continue to play out, if they are still going to be the good Haven team or not after this break.
My favorite Vandal skin? Prelude of Chaos, for sure. Yeah, it's so fun to play with.
Mi banda favorita es la banda Champions porque no la pude comprar y después la empecé a usar y me encantó.
Niche Puppy. My current favorite Vandal skin is, it's still the Prime, the blue Prime, just because it's the most reliable. Like, I can't switch up on my boy, you know. I gotta say the blue Prime again.
Prelude. Just, it's so nice. Like, the skin's actually nice, the sound is nice, and I love it.
Vandal skin, Araxis. River, I think, is that good? Black is my favorite color, so River, that black one is nice.
I don't have the one, but I think it's like the Prime Vandal. I don't have, but for the second, I'm using a lot of Araxis. It's good.
Ooh, that's kind of changed, I'm not gonna lie. I think my favorite Vandal skin right now is the Fish Vandal skin.
Prime, blue Prime. It's OG. It's nice.